Hey guys, you're gonna have to put up with a little bit of a head cold today. If I sound terrible, it's because I'm sick. But I wanted to get some of these niche genetics videos done for you guys so that we can get you started on how to do sort of an end-to-end keyword research. If you were left with, if you only had one tool, could you basically do this for everything from the idea phase right up to the rollout of a SERP Shaker site? And I think you can. I've certainly done it a bunch of times. They don't always hit, as you'll see when we go through some of these considerations, but they hit often enough that it makes it a pretty profitable process. And the addition of the competitor keywords add-on has really been good for me to actually uncover a whole bunch of really cool keywords that don't jump out at you, or at least didn't jump out at me when I was doing keyword research before, and helps give me an idea of who's more vulnerable on page one that I might be able to unseat. So we're going to start with, in this sort of introductory video, I'm going to talk to you about 5 different keywords that I typed in. I was looking for something that might not be incredibly ridiculous to compete for, so that I could actually take it all the way through the process of building a site after I was done recording these videos. And my picks weren't all that great. IRS tax help was literally all 10 slots on page 1 were gov websites, and you're not going to push those off. Model trains looks relatively vulnerable, but it looked like it would be a better maybe CPA opportunity than AdSense, and I sort of wanted to talk a little bit about how I've been using AdSense for informational sites. So I'm going to pass on that. I'm gonna do this one, and I'll show you why in a moment. But these two also tended to be relatively competitive. Now I will say, low carb is actually sort of an offshoot of a bunch of food stuff that I began tackling, I don't know, maybe a month or 2 ago, with a whole bunch of different sites, and I'm using my feeder method to aim them at one site about eating well, and that's working out really well. I'm actually getting, it's pretty early, but on some of these sites I'm getting 10 clicks in a day, 10 views a day, and then some sites I'm getting up to like 65, 70 views a day. And when you take them all together, it adds up fairly well. So even though, and we'll take a look, I'm not sure what this says in terms of competition. I can't remember if it says very difficult. I've said before in previous videos, don't ever rely on one calculation for how difficult a keyword is to rank for, because first of all, they'll never create a perfect calculation. And in general, when I start out anyway, I'm starting out with the most competitive, most obvious keyword possible before I sub-niche my way into what I want to cover. So I wouldn't be attacking the keyword low carb anyway, although I'm encouraged that it's only a 35 here. I would be going after like low carb recipes, things like this is what really makes niche genetics cool, is you can scroll down this page and you can come up with all the sub-niche ideas you want. You could, let's say for example, you want, and this is falling back on my feeder method. Let's say you bought lowcarb.com, and I know that's not available, but you get my point. And you wanted to use the feeder method that I use. You could literally go through and pull these reports of long tails, related terms. You could go down to LSI keywords, top 4 tags. You could populate this information. I love to come down here and do like categories. You can't do 2 at a time, but what you can, I'll show you something that you can do in a minute to get at the data quicker. But anyway, you can go right through to where you see products on Amazon to get ideas for what people are buying or what they want to read about. And that basically becomes the best use of your SERP Shaker sites, is to build them around true long tails, or at least areas that are more focused, and then send that traffic to a site where you write more broadly. Or even if you write about, let's say for example you have lowcarb.com on your main site, you could have a section for chicken, and when you build let's say you build lowcarbchickenrecipes.com as a SERP site, and you point all the traffic with something like SuperCloaker over to the chicken page or chicken section of lowcarb.com, so that when they think they're clicking on a website that has to do with low carb chicken recipes based on what they're reading from the from the meta information that Google uses, but then when they land on the site, at least it's not a ridiculous shock, because they're on something that's related to low carbs and chicken. So a lot of times they won't even notice. Now, if you send them directly to the homepage of a low carb site and there's something on there about low carb smoothie recipes, gosh, I'm drawing a blank. That's a little bit of a shock when they were looking for chicken recipes. So you might want to think about how you make the transition, but I'll leave all that in your hands. The overlying point here that I want to make is that this is your SERP site, not this. This is a money site, and this is a site that you build with SERP and redirect up to that site. Okay, I promised I'd tell you one quick way to get at all the information for this. All you do is you go up and click Export All Keywords, and it will pull up a dialog box to save the spreadsheet. And in the next in the next video, we're going to look at what the export looks like for the other keyword that I'm going to actually do the work on. So let's go back. That one is hypocholesterolemia is the one we're going to do. And just to give you a brief overview before I start the second video, here's what we're looking at. 880 monthly searches, relatively modest CPC. We're going to go through competition next time and all that kind of stuff, but it's judged moderate overall. And I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to run Export All Keywords, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to pick it up with what I do from that point.